Hi, and welcome to the Zelda Informer podcast for, what is it, March? Good times, good times. And I am Nathaniel Rumpfeljans, the local co-owner and webmaster of Zelda Informer. And we have two staff members with us today. We have Casey Hodges, one of our Bombers writers.
What's up, everybody?
What is up? And then we have, he goes as the Predator or Child Predator on the site, but his real name is like Damir. I'm not even gonna try the last name. How's it going?
Hey, greetings from the sunny Bosnia. It's 2 a.m. here, and I'm hardly keeping my eyes open. So, fun times.
Fun times indeed. Yes, he is from Bosnia. Good times, and that's why you guys might notice a little accent, so it's good to get a little variety in our shows. They're both Zelda Informer staff. So, we're going to get right into it then and talk about Zelda music. It's a really broad topic, so we're going to kind of narrow it down to just a couple things. Namely, we'll be talking about basically the old music, the new music, the remixes, should there be remixes, should there be new stuff. I'm sure orchestrated stuff's going to be talked about a little bit. And that's kind of what we're going to stick to for our first topic. So let's just start right out with our local, what appears to be our local musical expert on the site with his music reviews and tutorials, Damir. What do you think?
Well, some of the ongoing debate that I've been seeing on the internet about Zelda music is whether Nintendo should keep doing the new tracks for the Zelda games, or whether they should get back some of the old songs. I mean, we did see some of the most famous ones in basically every Zelda game after Ocarina of Time, but actually it's just a more general topic, classical things versus innovation versus new things. It's hard to talk about it. It's hard to draw a balanced line, and Nintendo did actually do a good job with it. You have the title theme of the Wind Waker, you have the Dragon Roost Island theme, you have the title theme of Twilight Princess, but still you have the classical tunes which you heard from Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. To be frankly honest, one tune I'm quite missing is the Dark World Death Mountain theme from Link to the Past. They really should bring that one back.
That's kind of cool. I know that when it comes to the whole debate on the older music coming back, or the remixes, or should it be all new, or finding a nice balance, I've always been a person that thinks outside of the official theme. Everybody knows the Zelda theme song. Outside of having that appear, I personally don't want any of the music in the game to be reminiscent of any of the previous music, because one thing I find that doing that does is you hear that music and you instantly start thinking about a different game than the one you're playing. And if they really want to make it a unique experience, like make it feel like its own game, its own Zelda game that doesn't rely on previous titles, then getting away from music that reminds you of the previous titles would be, to me at least, a nice start. Even things so much as the selection screen, where they tend to use remixes of the same song since Ocarina of Time. That keeps making you think of Ocarina of Time. And one thing they need to avoid is people comparing the game to Ocarina of Time. And to avoid that, stop making us think of Ocarina of Time before we even start playing the game. Caseman, what do you think?
I'd probably lean more towards a balance between the two. It's kind of nice to hear old classics redone with modern music, modern technology like orchestrated and various things like that. It helps us reminisce, and it's just fun to hear the old stuff. But I also really like to encourage hearing new things, because sometimes you can really get attached to newer songs that you relate to that game, whereas, like you said, rehashes of old songs remind you of other games. But I think the most important thing is, does the song belong to the game? Like, I feel that the Wind Waker had a spectacular soundtrack where all of it kind of fit together and really matched the style of the game. And if an old song really matches the style they're going for in a new title, then I see no reason why it shouldn't be included. But if it doesn't, and they're just putting it in there to remind everyone, hey, this is the Zelda theme, then no, I don't really think it's as necessary. But I think a balance, as long as it belongs in the game, is more than fine.
Well, actually, I tend to disagree with such a view. It's not a question of whether or not it belongs to the game, but whether or not it belongs to the location. Generally, people tend to overlook music in games and its effect that it can have on the atmosphere of a game. It's actually, in my opinion, the most crucial part of every game atmosphere. So if you have, for example, Zelda 22 in 15 years, what do I know? And you have some location, you visit some a Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker, just making stuff up, and you get there and you hear the old Dragon Roost Island theme. You're gonna know that you've been here at this location in a game that you played 10 years ago, and it marks that spot, so it's more relevant to location than to game.
I kind of get what you're getting at. I think music does have a big thing to do with the atmosphere of a game. I know when one of the trailers used Don't Want You No More, which was a custom song, orchestrated piece for that trailer, and it really set a kind of sad tone for Twilight Princess before we got to play it, and I thought it kind of fit well overall once I played the game with what the game was. The problem is, music like that wasn't really in the game itself. Not that much, at least to me, I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite song in this, the whole Zelda franchise. I know it's funny, but it's safe to say that Twilight Princess didn't live up to the expectations of that song when I've heard it.
Yeah, and the problem was it was orchestrated, which made everybody think we're going to get orchestrated music. So to me it was like, if you weren't going to do orchestrated music, don't put orchestrated music in your trailers. Prime example, the Spirit Tracks music. You put Spirit Tracks music in it and that exact same music was in the game. Okay, that's great, so don't make that mistake again. And there's really no excuse this time around. Now that they put orchestrated music in like Mario Galaxy, they don't have an excuse to not do it in the next game. So it's just keeping the music atmospheric is fine. I guess I'm not opposed to like old songs coming back. Like you use that Dragon Roost Island example. If there's another Dragon Roost Island, why not use a remix of the old Dragon Roost Island theme? I guess that makes sense. I guess maybe to me, I don't want to see the old stuff come back. Like the old, like if there's like a Kakariko Village, okay, cool, it'd be nice to have that music come back in a remix form, but I guess I don't want it to come back, which is a whole nother point entirely. But I mean, for a game to feel new, sometimes you need new locations. It could still be Hyrule, I guess. Like Spirit Tracks wasn't, any of the Hyrules that we've been to before, or at least that we could think of, unless you're in the theorizing realm trying to connect things around. It was a new Hyrule, which meant there wasn't things like Kakariko Village and stuff. So I guess it's a totally different topic, but I just don't want those returning places coming back unless it's absolutely necessary that it comes back, or if it's done in a nice way. But the music aspect, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily overlooked. I think Nintendo overlooks it. They'll just kind of, especially when it came to, Twilight Princess was probably the most recent release we can really go off of in terms of console things, and they really, I think, dropped the ball with the music. There was only a few times that to me it felt right, such as like Midna's Desperate Hour. I thought that was a well-placed and well-themed song, but for the most part, a lot of the custom music they had in the game didn't seem to fit too well with me.
Correct.